Sometimes I feel like movies get called masterpieces way too easily. Like, if a film is directed by a big-name director, or it's praised by critics, or it has a high IMDb rating, suddenly everyone just agrees it's a masterpiece. Even when, deep down, you might be watching it and thinking, wait, really? This. I've had that feeling a lot. You sit through a movie that everyone else is raving about, critics are writing essays on it, your friends say it's life-changing, but when you finally watch it, you're left scratching your head. Not because it's complex, but because it's just okay. Maybe good, maybe average, but not this once-in-a-generation experience people are hyping it up to be. And here's the thing, I usually don't say anything in those moments. Because who wants to be the one person in the room saying, yeah, I didn't really like it, when everybody else is acting like it's the greatest movie ever made? Sometimes people just go along with the hype because they don't want to be the odd one out. But today, I want to share my honest list. Movies that so many people treat like masterpieces. But for me, they just didn't hit. And if you think they are masterpieces and you enjoyed them, that's totally fine. This is just my opinion, my list. You probably have your own too, and I'd love to hear what movies didn't live up to the hype for you in the comments. Alright, let's get into it. Let's start with the big one, Oppenheimer. Yeah, I know, Christopher Nolan, 3-hour epic, shot in IMAX. Critics losing their minds. Fans calling it one of the best movies of the decade. But for me, it's not a masterpiece. Honestly, I don't even think it's a good movie. And that's surprising, because I actually like Nolan's work. Inception, Interstellar, even Tenet. I enjoyed those. But Oppenheimer felt like Nolan was trying too hard to be complicated. The editing wasn't clever, it was just messy. Instead of pulling me in, it almost felt like it was designed to confuse people just so they'd think it was deep. Yes, the IMAX shots looked incredible. The cast was amazing. The production value? Top tier. But the storytelling? It just didn't work for me. And the hype around the atomic bomb, like everyone was waiting to see how Nolan would portray Hiroshima or Nagasaki, it wasn't even there. We just got the bomb test scene in the middle of the movie. That was it. I walked out thinking, that's it? That's what everyone's calling a masterpiece. And the truth is, if you actually want to learn about Oppenheimer, there are documentaries and YouTube videos that explain it in a way that's less confusing and way more engaging. For me, Oppenheimer was mid. Nolan can do better, and he has done better. The next one is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And this is where I want to be clear. I love Quentin Tarantino. Django Unchained is one of my favorite movies of all time. That's Tarantino at his absolute best. Sharp dialogue, unique style, and a story that pulls you in from start to finish. But this movie, it just didn't feel like him. Or maybe it felt too much like him. Like Tarantino trying to make a Tarantino movie. The whole thing was slow, dragging on with scenes that didn't really build toward anything. The story could have been told in 30 minutes, but instead it's stretched into this 2.5-hour marathon. And the finale? Come on, if the goal was to shock us with the ending, I've seen B-grade slasher movies pull off better finales than that. Don't get me wrong, the only reason this film was watchable was because of Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. Their performances carried it. But if you take them out, you're left with a pretty average film that doesn't really stick with you. For me, this wasn't Tarantino magic. It was just average. Now, let's talk about Dune. Both Part 1 and Part 2. I know. People absolutely love these movies. The cinematography, the scale, the production, it's all stunning. And I'll give it that. Visually, Dune is a masterpiece. Denis Villeneuve knows how to create a world that feels massive and real. But story-wise, I was bored. The first Dune felt like watching a really long prologue. It was all set up and world building, but with no payoff. I remember sitting in the theater, struggling to stay awake. Then Part 2 comes out, and yes, it was better. The pacing picked up, there was more action, but still, it didn't feel satisfying. The villains especially felt underdeveloped. Like, they're just the villains. They show up, they get stabbed, and they're gone. No weight, no depth, no memorable arcs. And the fights? Honestly, a lot of them were just over in seconds. You wait the entire movie for this epic clash, and then, stab. Done. I get that Dune is based on legendary books that influenced so many other stories, but that's the problem. By the time I watch the movie, I feel like I've already seen all these ideas before, because other films and shows have borrowed from Dune for years. So instead of feeling fresh, it just feels recycled. For me, the concept is amazing, the visuals are breathtaking, but the actual storytelling left me cold. So yeah, those are the big three for me. Oppenheimer, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Dune. All movies that are treated like modern masterpieces, but to me, they're just okay. Not bad, but not the cinematic perfection people make them out to be. And again, if you love these movies, that's totally fine. That's the beauty of cinema. We all connect with films differently, but I think it's important to be honest about our opinions. Just because a movie is hyped up doesn't mean we all have to pretend we loved it. Sometimes it's okay to say, yeah, that one didn't work for me. Now I want to hear from you. What movies have you watched that everyone else called a masterpiece, but you walked out feeling underwhelmed? Drop your list in the comments. I'd love to see if we share any of the same ones. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives, more opinions, and more honest conversations about movies. Because at the end of the day, I just enjoy sharing my honest thoughts about movies, the ones that amaze me, the ones that disappoint me, and everything in between.